So they get me started off. Hey, man, what's going on, man? It is Bills United podcast, man. Hey, man, today is going to be special because it's post-draft. It's post-draft day. We know where we heading. We know what we wanted. And guess what? We may or may not have got what we wanted, but we about to find out. We're going to tell you about, we're going to break down these players. We're going to break down these draft grades. But with that being said, hey, man, what's going on with y'all brothers, man? How y'all feeling today?
Feeling great, man. Blessed and highly favored, man. What's going on?
Yes, sir.
Feeling pretty good.
All right, hey, now, check this out, man. I want to get your overall grades for the trade. For the draft, right? So I want to start off with you, Joey Hatch. What is your overall grade for the draft?
Well, I think we started out just fine, and I think we went to the crapper in the end. My whole thing is I don't understand why we got 11 corners on the team right now and like 6 defensive tackles. We're probably not going to keep half of them. So at that point, my grade is a B minus.
B minus
for Brandon Bean sucks.
All right. So what about you, HB? What you got for me, brother?
So I'm gonna shock y'all because I had to keep this from y'all. I trust the process. I think that I'm gonna give them a B. I'm gonna give them a solid B. I'm not gonna give them an A because of the same reason for Joey Hatch. I think that they came down and they started off hot and it was very promising and then they just dropped the ball. In my opinion, if you don't have anything to offer after the 3rd, 4th round, then just stock up for next year. What's the reason in having to draft all these players you know that are probably not going to make the team? And if that, you're probably going to have to cut somebody you really relied on the year previous to that. That already knows your system and everything. Why would you do that? So we got a lot to talk about today, man. We're gonna chop this onion up. We're gonna take the layers out, and that's what I'm going with today, man. What about you? How you feeling?
All right, listen, I'm gonna keep this nice and short because we're gonna dive into this in a few minutes. First of all, this draft, I'll give it overall B minus. We have at least a good few players that we did draft that I feel like that can make an immediate impact on the team, but at the same time, we picked up players pretty much for nothing. That's not gonna see the day of light. That's not even gonna make the team. And we could have done something else with that player to even moved up to make a better or to get more talent on this team that can make an immediate impact. So, in my opinion, I give it a B minus, right? So, now with that being said, since we talk about grades, is there any player that stood out to you, HB?
I'm going to be honest, man. My gut feeling was Maxwell Harrison the whole time that we were doing this whole process. I know you wanted Trey Amos. I know. But I think that, my gut feeling with how Sean McDermott, since he's been here the last couple of years, close to a decade now, he's been getting people out of the Senior Bowl. And so seeing how hands-on he is with his players and seeing how Maxwell Harrison came off in the Combine and the Senior Bowl, how sticky he was in coverage, how he could play zone on tape and then man coverage when you see him in person, I think he was the perfect player to just plug and play. And right now, just like he said it, he's a plug-and-play player that you could just start day one, and we don't have that many slots on this team to just fill for depth or for any other reason. We need players that could just start and play now that we can develop as we go. And he's one of those guys that, you just give him a step or two, and he's the guy that stood out to me out of all the people that we got. But that's about all I got for him. I'm gonna leave some meat in the bone for y'all. About you, Joey? How you feeling, man?
All right. When we first started, we drafted Maxwell Harrison in the 1st round. I like the pick. He's got a lot of speed. He can recover. The problem with him is he has injury problems stemming from last year with a shoulder. So already coming to us, he already had an injury where he was out for 5 whole games last year. But my player that we picked in the 3rd round, I don't know if anybody knows much about him, but London Jackson The man is 6'7", and he bullies people. He went up against Will Campbell that the New England Patriots took, and he demolished him, which is a very good sign because he is one of the top pass rushers in the country. And we brought him to Buffalo. And y'all better get to know his name because you're going to be saying it an awful lot.
You know what? I feel that. You know why? Because that's my guy too. That's my guy too. And the reason why I say that's my guy, because you know what? He filled in a position on this team that we needed. Yes, we have Joey Bosa. Yes, we have Groot. Yes, we have AJ Epinesa. But guess what? We don't have a player of that caliber with that type of length nor size outside of Greg Russo. So imagine when Joey Bosa come off the field, and guess what? We plug and play Landon. It's gonna be a problem. So it's kind of like even when Joey Bosa do lead the field, we're not missing out on anything. So they are constantly fresh. And then not only that, he's an aggressive player. He's a dog. And we've been talking about getting dogs on this team. And he's explosive. He liked the contact. But the only downfall about him is that sometimes he can overcommit. But you know what? That's going to come over time. Once he adjusts to the speed of the NFL, especially with our coaching staff, who's clearly good at developing DEs for the most part, he's going to be a problem. I say he's going to make an immediate impact on his team. But I give it to next year, and y'all going to know everybody. He's going to be a name around this league that everybody know for sure. Just wait on it.
I just sure hope so.
What solidified me in on Landon Jackson is, I don't know if everybody's seen it, but Brandon Beane called him right before he drafted him, okay? And he said, "Oh, my God, Coach, I am so happy that you drafted me." He said, "You will not be disappointed. I swear to God, I will make an impact." Now, the whole offseason, we were looking for mayhem. He is mayhem.
Yes,
not the guy from the insurance commercial, the guy that's going to be on your quarterback in this season. They said he will make immediate impact and he will start getting sacks as soon as he starts. Now, when somebody tells you that really knows a lot about sports, I tend to believe that. And I really have a feeling that we finally got a game wrecker on the line.
And hold on, I want to add a little bit. Onto that, right? We do have a game record, but not only that, I think people need to realize that not only just remember the conversation, like you said, he had with Brandon Beane. He also said, they asked him. Oh no, the reporter asked him, like, "Are you surprised that you fell that far behind to the third round when you was projected to possibly go in the first round?" He was like, "I've been an underdog my whole life." He got a bone to pick, man. He got weight on his shoulder that he want to release, man. He got a chip on his shoulder, man. So when he come here, he said, "Thank you for the opportunity." And guess what? He's going to play his heart out. But not only that, he was also trolled for 3 years due to that video of him slapping the bags. He was a joke around the whole entire college universe of football, man. And now he for it. Come on.
And he transferred from LSU to Arkansas. So the only reason why he transferred from LSU is because he was splitting time with another guy. And they told him in Arkansas, "You come over, you'll get all the playing time you want." Look what happened. They turned him. He said, "Brandon Beane, you're getting a dog. I swear to God, man, when you cry and you say you are a dog, you're a dog. We need them people on our team. You know what we got? We've been said this before. Baby shit. Now we got that beast.
We've been waiting.
A long time.
Hey man, shout out to my boy Pedro, man.
Pedro.
Over there at Mafia Talk. Yes, sir.
Pedro, what's up, big cuz?
Hey man, shout out to my boy AJ Aaron on Instagram, man. Yo, man, appreciate y'all boys for tuning in. But you know what, yo, this one is a very interesting topic, right? And I think there's about to be a lot of cooking going on right here.
Woo!
How did Trey White signing impact our cornerback room? What's his role now? Still a starter. You know what, HB? I want you to run away with this one. I want you to start off with this one first.
Good, because I wasn't gonna let y'all start anyway. When it comes to this right here, man, Trey White was my best signing for the offseason. And the reason why is because I wanted to troll my boy KI. That's the only reason why. Because you already know my boy is 30 years old. You already know that he's been around. I mean, now, you know, he had plenty of injuries, come back to Buffalo. But if it's one thing that I loved about him signing on a serious note, is that he's a man of habit. He already knows the program. He knows the time they start. He knows what his role is on the defense. So him having that veteran mentality now and him wanting to be here, that's like the biggest thing for us Buffalonians, right? Is to have players that want to be here. And bringing him in here for a year before privy to the draft, I'm thinking, okay, we're probably not gonna get a corner round one. That's what I was sold on in the beginning. Because I'm thinking, okay, we just got Dane Jackson. We had just got Benford re-signed, and there's only one more plug-and-play player that you need. Something we're going to draft the corner. We get Trey White. We're thinking to ourselves, damn, we just got Trey White. Dude's 30 years old. He went to the Rams. He was getting cooked in the Rams. And then he's over there playing slot corner over there for the Baltimore Ravens. And you're thinking, what? Why did they bring him back? Of all people, they're going to bring him back. And you think to yourself that he's washed. But in reality, he was really going through it. Because he's like, I was a starting corner for the Bills. And now I have to learn a whole new system after being with a whole one team in one system for all those years. Now he has to learn how to do that all over again. And that's really hard to do at the pro level, especially when you get older. And sometimes you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And he was starting to become that old dog that couldn't be taught new tricks. So if you put in a losing situation, that's what you're going to get, is you're going to get bad results. So him coming to the Bills now, it's like you said, if you don't got Buffalo on the line, don't call me. Just don't call me. Leave me at home. So now having him be on the Bills is a good thing for vet leadership. It's a good thing for the locker room. But now what's his role, right? I think his role right now is going to be more sticking to being on the field, probably going to be inactive some games because you're going to keep him. I mean, you're not just going to not keep him, right? Don't be surprised if he's inactive some games because he is 30 years old. We just drafted a first-round corner. He's going to be a good mentor. You got a good guy, Maxwell Harrison, round one with a good head on his shoulders. You got Trey White that's able to teach the corners. And you got Benford that's a guy, 6-rounder, that's humble enough to bring another guy, to the fold. So I think that having him on the team is a good thing for veteran leadership, but he's not a starter on this team anymore. After we just got Harrison, I think after the preseason, I think Harrison should be the starter. I think Harrison should be the starter just because he got fresh legs. You're playing early in the season. I wouldn't be surprised if Trey White starts to start the season, but see him gradually dissipate because he's only here for a year. So he's only going to be here to play mentor. You got all these corners. You got 11 corners on this team. He's going to be one of the ones we keep. We usually keep 6. And we got 11 corners on this team. This is going to be what I call an all-out competition at the cornerback position. And all of this, to be honest with you, is orchestrated by Mike Pellegrino, which is the guy we got, the DB coach we got from the Patriots. Because he's coming in with another philosophy. So now he wants to bring in his philosophy and his little blueprint to the Bills defense. And the only way to do that is to swarm the room with brand new talent to say, listen, these are the guys that I like. If you can grab them, great. And now let's mold a whole new Bills team next year. And that's what it is. You got to trust the process. I know it wasn't sexy for none of us to see us have 11 corners. But when you see the process and when you start to chop everything down, we already have a tight room as it is. So when you go and you get 11 corners, it's a statement saying, okay, now we're gonna take all these players and we're gonna chop them down to our scheme and to our liking. So look at it in Coach Mike's eyes now and say, we got all this new candy now. We got the guys from last year. They're gonna compete. It's gonna be honest competition on the rookie level and the second-year players. But if you think that Benford, that Johnson, that Hairston, that Trey White is going to be shaking in their boots, you got another thing coming. Because those guys are going to be the solid guys staying. And I haven't even mentioned Dane Jackson. Because Dane Jackson's the outside looking in now. He's the outside looking in now. He's got a one-year deal. What's that? What's those pennies you got, man?
Nah. I'm about to challenge your whole statement.
Going to laundry? Go
I'm
ahead.
challenge your statement,
Go
right?
ahead.
I'm about to challenge your statement because after everything you just said, I'm not hearing. Right? Off rip. You was like, trust the process. No. Let me ask you a question. I'm about to challenge you. You said trust the process, right? So agree with this? I mean, agree. This is what you said, that you are okay with the Bills drafting 3 cornerbacks this year, right? Was you okay with that?
No, but I have to trust it.
You have to trust it, right? But now the reason why I'm challenging that is because at the end of the day, bro, we drafted 3 corners. And guess what? 2 of them corners not even gonna make the team. Right? So right there was 2 wasted draft picks when we could have used them picks to move up, or we could use them picks for draft capital later down the line for next season. I mean, for next year, right? So now with that being said, you know how much talent that we have missed out on to draft 2 corners that's not gonna make this team, and we could have moved up. You know how many players, a loaded draft that we missed out on just for it could be a competition when we could have drafted players and moved up and got players that could make an impact, immediate impact on this team right now. I think it's crazy. I do not agree with trust the process. I think that was a big mistake that we had made, and it does not make sense.
Hey, Joey, I'm sorry, brother. I gotta throw it. Because I'm not gonna let him get away with this. Brandon Beane has brought this team out of mediocrity. He has brought this team out of mediocrity, and I will be damned if I sit here and I crap on all that he's done for this team and has put us in a position for success year after year after year. I'm not talking about Pittsburgh Steelers success, where you just get into the playoffs and lose in the first round every year. I'm not going to say that. I'm talking about win a wild card game, win divisional, go to the AFC Championship. Yes, lose to the Chiefs. Yes, they're a juggernaut. Everyone loses to the Chiefs. Now, we'll see in the coming days if that really happens. But if I'm going to sit here and say that Brandon Beane hasn't done anything to put us in a successful position, I think you're wrong.
Whoa.
I think you're wrong, buddy.
You about to make me pick that flag up again. You know what?
I got 3 more over here I can go pick up.
I'm going to challenge that. Check this out. First of all, this had nothing to do with Brandon Beane. I ain't say nothing about Brandon Beane, right? But now with that being said, right, why would you draft 3 cornerbacks when 5 of the cornerbacks that you got on this team right now is already solidified?
I just explained it. You got.
Well, so you draft 3 cornerbacks, and plus we got Ingram. I can't remember the Covington. So we got 6 cornerbacks that's not even making the team. So you want to draft 3 to make it 11 just for a competition, just for one to make it on his roster? It's crazy.
We usually keep 6. I believe this year we'll keep 7. 7 being the exception that we have 11. And the reason why is because I'm gonna throw this back. I'm gonna throw this back to when we had Justin Shorter. We got Justin Shorter out of the Florida Gators, the wide receiver. We kept him on the practice squad for a year, thinking that he was gonna get better, and he didn't get any better. So they ended up cutting him and biting the bullet anyway with the money. Because at the end of the day, all this is about is money. So when you look at it, you got Trey White, Benford, Harrison, and then you got Taron Johnson. Those are 4 corners solidified. Then you have other 3 corners. You have Dane Jackson, outside looking in again, 1-year contract. Brandon Ingram, Deontay Hardy. And then you got Corey Couch, Brandon Condrition, which is our kick returner. So not really listed. He's listed as a corner. He's really a kick returner. And then, but you could do without him. So you're already cutting 1 guy. Deontay Hardy, another guy. Had to keep him on the practice squad because we couldn't fit the 53. And then you got Jordan Hancock and Strong. I'm sitting there looking that I feel that Hancock can go and Strong can go. They can get on the team. Probably will be on the practice squad. One of them will make the 53. Just one of them out of everyone that's there.
Well, I would like to add this because I know Joey has one to cook up real quick, but I would like to add this. It does not make sense for us to keep 7 corners. And the reason why I say that is because we are loaded in our defensive with our DE position. We are already loaded in that position. So we're going to have to keep either 6 corners. And if we do keep 7 corners, we would have to get rid of a defensive end, or probably 2 at that. So it's kind of like, would you rather have an extra corner who's probably not going to see the field compared to a DE that's constantly rotating? So which one would you rather lose? Because that's what it's going to boil down to if we keep an extra corner this year.
That will be another topic for another day. But we're gonna let our guest today, Joey, chime in on this question right here.
All right. I understand that Trey White is the first draft pick of the regime in the first round. It was to solidify the back seven, which he did his job. At one time, he was the lockdown corner on the Buffalo Bills, and then he got hurt a couple years in a row. We sent him to L.A. He didn't make it in L.A. He was getting cooked. He came back to the Ravens, and when we played the Ravens in the playoffs, he had the highest defensive grade out of all players on the field. Because he was healthy finally. So at that point, you bring him back and you draft the corners and have the corners we have. I want to know, where is there a bad corner in our back seven? There's nobody in our back seven besides our safeties that we are unsure of. And I am unsure of Tyler Rapp. I am unsure of number 3,
DeMar Hamlin.
Hamlin. And I think that there'll be 2 new starters there. But my whole thing is, I love Trey White coming back as long as he can stay healthy. Did he lose a step? Yes. But if you talk to Brandon Beane, Maxwell Harrison might not even start this year, he said. He might even start only half a season. So at that point, he has no choice but to start. Now, at that point, everybody was talking about the process. At one point, the process works. We have stayed even keel and won playoff games where people like Dak Prescott and other quarterbacks who think they are in the same realm as Josh Allen. Well, I hate to tell y'all, they're not even close, because Dak Prescott couldn't wipe with toilet paper. Josh Allen can do all that, and he don't even have to wipe. Okay, that's the difference. One goes to the playoffs and makes it to the championship game, and we lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. And that's where the process is fucking broke. I'm tired for 4 years of you keep giving me this shit speech about, oh, we're this close. 5 years running. We have been building and doing all this stuff, and we built our defense. Our offense was one of the top offenses in the league last year. At this point, this is our best shot. If we don't get it done this year, Kansas City's rebuilding their line and bringing in other weapons, and so is other teams. New England is not going to be a slouch. They brought in talent before the draft, and they're going to bring talent in after the draft. Now, the Jets and the other people, all the measly, I'm not worried about them. But New England is coming. And we need to start moving up for the big players that make the big moves, because you cannot thrift store shop forever.
No.
And
that's right.
The part that gives me hope in the process still is the guy that I mentioned, Landon Jackson. He's going to make everything exciting again on this defense, where it seems like it's really stale.
Yeah.
But our corners all of our corners are very good. There's not one corner back there that don't know what they're doing at this point.
Yeah.
So if our corners are that good and our defensive line gets pressure, this could be one hell of a year, and we could break records. So at one point, the process is broke, and at the other point, the process isn't. So it all depends on which angle you're coming from, because the process is broke with me because we can't get Kansas City. And that's I don't want to be one of the quarterbacks that were very, very good quarterbacks like Dan Marino, who couldn't get past a quarterback named Jim Kelly. And now we're in that boat. And everybody says, oh, if we would have brought Patrick Mahomes to Buffalo, he'd have been great. No, he wouldn't have, because the Buffalo Bills do not build around their quarterback. You can go out and get any freaking receiver you want. Okay, you brought in Stephon Diggs. That's not building around a quarterback. You need to build to his strengths, and you have not done that in 7 years.
Message.
And today, you take an offensive lineman, a freaking it just blew my mind, because we don't need a tight end. I mean, yeah, one of our tight ends got hurt, but we have tight ends signed to future contracts. We got one that's like 7 foot tall, and then we got 2 starters. So right there, you got 4. Now we got 5. Then you take an offensive lineman and some guy, Prother or whatever his name is, in the 7th, who I've never even heard of. So I make a post, Isaiah Bond. Everyone's like, oh, he did some sexual stuff. Well, I hate to tell you, so did Maxwell Hairston. So if you're going to say that, every guy that we were going to pick had some kind of sexual problem. So at that point, we might as well not even draft at all. But meanwhile, Kansas City and New England are taking these people, and they're about to run away with stuff, because everybody thinks we're about to get pounded out by New England. Well, I hate to tell you all this. As long as you got Josh Allen on our side, that's never going to happen. So
he would die
at that
before
point,
that happens.
Right.
Especially after that Jordan Poyer speech.
Facts.
He will. That right there was the start of it all. And then after that, it's curtains. It's curtains for the
Yeah.
You know what? No. Check this out, right? Was the draft approach on defense a surprise? I ain't gonna lie. I want to start this off because I feel some type of way about this draft, right? I like the Landon Jackson, right? I like that pickup. I also like the TJ Sanders pickup. I like him as a player, but I don't like him when it comes to the scheme fit. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, because honestly, why would we pick up another 3 tech where we need a 1 tech and we already got 3 of them? Or hold on, my bad, 4. But now with that being said, the whole point of this draft was to get rid of this bend and don't break mentality. We didn't do anything to get away from the bend or break mentality. We don't have anybody to plug in the gap integrity. We don't have anybody big enough to stop these running backs from going through our defensive line still. And I want y'all, what's the guy we picked up from Kentucky? I can't remember his name right now.
Walker.
Yeah, we picked up Walker.
Yeah, Walker, yeah.
But Walker is a project player. He is literally a project player. Let's be honest. Yeah, we picked him up in the 4th round. He was I think he was like the 3rd or 4th best available at that moment. But he's not a player that you're gonna see constantly on the field. You're not gonna see him. So it's like, honestly, yeah, we improved when it comes to the pass rushing. We did improve on that. I give the Bills that. We did improve in our cornerback. But in our reality, what did we do to help us stop the run game? I think the way that we drafted is backwards. I think we went the complete opposite way of what I thought. I thought we was going to get bigger. We did not get bigger. We got more explosive players, but we didn't get bigger. And to me, that's how I feel. I feel like we approached it the wrong way. And I feel like we still going to have the same, we still going to have the same problems that we had last year. But it's just gonna have a little bit more spark to it due to the players that we brought in, because we have more dogs. But we still gonna have the same problems. I can see us during the beginning of the season, towards the end of next season, talk about the same bend and break mentality. I see it. So that's my opinion. I don't like the way that we approach the defense. So now what you got for me, Joey Hatch?
Yeah.
JT Sanders. JT Sanders, if you read his profile, he's a 1 tech, a 3 tech, and a nose tackle. Now, you know, some smart man told me a long time ago, if you do 3 jobs, you're not very good at either one of them. If you have 1 job, you are a perfect person to do that job, because that's the sole job that you have, and you are very good at it. Mm-hmm. It's harder to do 3 jobs than 1. JT Sanders, when we were supposed to take a DT, we were supposed to get a big boy to help out Ed Oliver, because he slacks here and there like he don't want to push his weight around. Okay, so TJ Sanders, we bring him in, 297, 6'7". Yeah, he's big, but he's small.
Yep.
He's undersized for his position. So then They take London Jackson, and then immediately after that, they take Walker, which is a one tech, a pure one tech. 6'7", 333 pounds. Okay, so my question is, you took TJ Sanders, you moved up and gave up a ton of stuff, two seconds to get a third and a seventh for a small defensive tackle. Okay, so then you go and you double up on defensive tackle. We already got defensive tackles. And I understand maybe the defensive tackle that we got, which would be who? Ed Oliver, isn't doing all of his job that he's supposed to. But we paid him the bag, and last year he put up a little bit more. So now here we go. We're going to have a rotational thing. You know how many people we got for the defensive line to rotate in and out? We have 4 people at every position. And the whole time, we're not doing anything to think about Josh Allen in the offense or special teams, which special teams was freaking horrible. That's why we fired the coach. And you brought in absolutely nobody to help out in any of them, especially when your 11th corner is our kick returner, who might not even be here after we traded for him. So it's like you take TJ Sanders and then you double up with Walker. If that was the case, why didn't you just take Walker the first time? But no, you doubled up again like you did when you got a couple years ago, and we let him go to the Colts. My whole thing here is I know we were going to attack the defense, but I was hoping somewhere that we were going to grab a couple offensive pieces like a running back, Scarabuda, or frickin', Isaiah Bond, or, something like that. Like Mike Green was sitting there when we drafted TJ Sanders. Now, if we're going to talk about management and how many points each pick was, TJ Sanders was not worth my time. I would have rather had Mike Green. But, there's always a problem with everybody I want to draft. Somebody will text me, oh, he did this or he did that, or he sideswiped a school. Things happen, man. Okay, and people lie. Just like with Maxwell Harrison. He had a sexual problem. They lied. He got out of it. Now they're saying that Isaiah Bond's got one, but Isaiah Bond is suing her because she's lying. It's just like the Trevor Ariza thing all over again. We are so scared that people are going to be like, oh, my God, look what they just took. But it's okay for Kansas City to take people who go to jail all the time. And that's okay. That's why we didn't take Worthy. He's already been in jail. Look at that. There's a reason why we took the receiver we took last year. But this year, you could have had Isaiah Bond. And you passed him like he was nothing. That could have been a big thing. He can play inside and corner and outside X. What I'm looking for is I understand that we had one of the top offenses in the league last year, but that doesn't mean adding a piece here and there can't get you better. And we brought in a tight end that's only going to block, who had 60 yards his whole career. 60 yards, bro.
Crazy.
So it just – Brandon Beane pisses me off sometimes. And I know he's trying to do the best for the team. And I know I'm an armchair GM and I might not know everything and people might get mad at me. I really don't care. I have my own opinion.
Of course. So
my opinion is it's time to get past the Chiefs and you need to make good decisions. And you said before this draft, every one of our players must make an impact. Well, I hate to tell you, you didn't draft all impact players, Brandon.
Amen. What you got for me, HB?
Wow. So I'm going to go back to the original question. Was the draft approach on defense a surprise? It was not a surprise for me because I feel like the biggest liability to us winning games is our defense. It's not Josh Allen. It's not James Cook. It's not any of that. Because Josh in the playoffs is untouchable. It was our defense. And I feel like they're sick and tired of our defense being a joke in the playoffs when it counts and during the year when it's bend, don't break all the time. And I'm sick and tired of seeing my defense bend and don't break, and then in the playoffs, all we do is contain. So at the end of the day, I just feel that. Can you guys hear me good? Can you guys hear me good?
Yeah.
Okay. My daughter's telling me that she can't really hear me that well on the thing. Just want to make sure. I'm trying to multitask here. But no, I really don't think that. Where was I at? I'm sorry. I really don't think that it was a surprise for me. But I do feel that they approached it the wrong way. We could have gotten a linebacker here and there. We could have got a one tech, or a bigger one tech / 3 tech earlier before getting TJ. I like TJ, and I like his tenacity. I like his tape. I like what he did in the Senior Bowl, and to me, that's what stood out to them, because they like to be hands on with their players. So when they saw what they saw on tape, and then they saw it in the Senior Bowl, it complemented each other and said, "This is what we've seen in certain scenarios in our division when we played. I think this will mesh well with the people that we got and the philosophy in which we got it." So I feel that's why we took TJ. I think they felt good about him, and this is about relationships as well. It's not just about playing, and that's the crappy part about our position, right? That we don't know everything as far as what they put in and what they see and why they do it. But this is their philosophy. And my fear is exactly what Joey said. When it came with, we've been trying to do this process for so long, we haven't gotten anything out of it, right? I don't want to be like the Houston Rockets that go have James Harden. And right now, Josh Allen is James Harden in his prime. He's going hard. He's a unicorn, right? And they're trying to put all these pieces around him, and they're not crazy pieces. But then you got one piece, and then that one piece doesn't really fit everything. You got the Chris Paul with James Harden, and then everybody else around him is just a bunch of role players. That's what we have. That's what we have. We have Josh Allen, we got James Cook, and everybody else is a bunch of role players. Love Shakir, role player, just a slot. Can't play X or the Y. Keon Coleman can only play one position, and that's it. Palmer, we got him. That's why we didn't get another receiver. We can't get another receiver in this draft that's going to be fighting for playing time, because he's going to literally be fighting for playing time. He will never see the field. We have Palmer on the outside. We got Keon on the second. We got Shakir on the inside. We run the ball 65% of the time. And it sucks because we needed an outside receiver, and we get one guy that's 6'4", 203, Kalen Prather, and like you said, we never heard of him. You could have got ballers that in earlier rounds that were gonna actually be a good second string to Palmer, or Keon. If Keon didn't work out, at least you got somebody with some size out there. And you can't forget about Shavers. You can't forget about guys like that are fighting to get a roster spot. Guys that didn't really get an opportunity in the preseason to really prove themselves, but when they get on the field, they bust out a 60+ yard touchdown.
Right.
Forget stuff like that. So I think that they're loyal to the guys that are already there. I think they already see what their philosophy is going to be for next year. They knew they messed up, and I know that deep down they're going to find a way to keep everybody that's here besides the guys that have been fighting for this roster for the last couple of years and still don't stand out. The Corey Couches of the world, the Brandon Ingrams, the Deontay Hardys, those guys. Codrington, I'm sorry, you're out the door. We got LaVisca Chenault. No, you're out the door. We already got a kick returner. We don't need you anymore. That's the only reason why we got him. We need a specialist. On the defensive line, we have Epinesa, we got Landon Jackson, and we got Bosa on one side. What are they going to do with Epinesa? Epinesa primarily only plays on one side. He doesn't play on both.
Yep.
Landon Jackson dominates at the second string with Bosa on that side, and purely on that side. He plays left end. Right end, you got Greg Rousseau and Javon Solomon. Javon Solomon's a monster, man. But the thing is that he doesn't get enough playing time in order for him to see that. He's not put up there on third down. You can't really rotate him in because Rousseau's taking 80% of the snaps. But everywhere where we've improved more in free agency than we have in this draft. In this draft, we took a bunch of nobodies, and respectfully, right? We took a bunch of guys we didn't even know. They got deep into the scouting report and took a bunch of dudes we didn't even know that we know damn well are not going to make this team. It surprised me, but it more surprised me their approach. It surprised me that they didn't get somebody behind Bernard. But if you're gonna be, if you're gonna be surprised, be more surprised at who they pick up as undrafted free agents that they're gonna try to force on this squad, like the Joe Andreessens, like the Shane Dolichs, I really hope that they could look at Devin Watson and believe in his strategy, man. He's trying to lose weight. He's trying to get his weight down, so he looks at formidable talent. Even if he drops weight, he's still gonna be over 400 pounds. Go try to get somebody like him.
Yep.
Oh, here we go. John Robert.
Shane Dolich, linebacker, signed a UDFA contract with the Rams.
Yep.
So he's out the picture.
Yep.
And also too, I want to add on to this, bro. Before we talk about something else. I feel like it may sound crazy, but let me break it down. I feel like we drafted for the future and not for the present. And the reason why I say that is because, for example, in my opinion, we should have got a safety. Because after the 2025 season, the only safety on this team right now with a contract that's going to be here is Cole Bishop. Because Taylor Rapp, this is last year on his contract. DeMar Hamlin got a 1-year deal. Derek Forrest got a 1-year deal. So after this year, we will have one safety literally on this roster to where we're going to have to draft or we're going to have to resign again. Right? Number two is TJ Sanders, right? He is literally another Ed Oliver, but just a little more beefier, right? It's like we drafted him to replace Ed Oliver when his contract is up. It's like we drafted Landon Jackson, so when Joey Bosa leave, we didn't draft anything for the holes that we needed, like a tech, like a one tech. And then it's like I know people keep saying like, oh, TJ Sanders, he could play a 1 tech to 3, but like Joey said, if you could play good, you could do 3 things. That does not mean you good at 1. We needed a dominant player at that 1 tech, and we did not go and do that as we should have. That should have been the number 2 primary position we should have filled at the cornerback. That should have been our second round pick. Was a D1 tech. Because guess what? TJ Sanders could have been in the 3rd round. And honestly, we had the 56 and the 62 pick of the 2nd round. He would have been there. So I feel like we gave up too much and we didn't fill the positions that I think that we honestly needed to fill. I just feel like we drafted players to replace the players that's already on our team instead of players that right now that we need at this moment to get us over this hump. And that's why I feel like, yeah, we did improve, but not significantly. I feel like we still in the same boat. But hey, it may be different when they put it together, but my opinion, I feel like we're in the same boat.
Brandon Bean said the quickest way to the quarterback is through the middle, not from the edges, especially for those quarterbacks to throw the ball quick. 1, 2, 3, throw. Okay. That's why they said we went out and got TJ Sanders and Walker because they can get pressure. And that's the quickest way to the quarterback if they're going to throw fast. Now, I understand what your philosophy is, but they were pushing around college kids. These are not college kids. You are coming to the NFL where the big boys play, and 297 or 303, sir, is very small. I don't care if you're a wrestler and know how to turn your hips, Sean McDermott, or not. The point is they're trying to get pressure up the middle and on both edges. But I don't know if the players that we picked up the middle are the ones that are going to be the ones to do it.
You know what I like about TJ Sanders, though, the most? I like that he's a 294, 6'4" defensive tackle that although he's a Swiss Army knife and plays a little bit of everything, he's like the Nate of the team, right? He's good at a lot of things, not great at one thing, right? You can grow into that after your rookie year. So I can see him getting a little bigger, just how Ed Oliver did when he got here. He was 290, now he's 310. You know, he's a bigger, stout guy that he get when he came here, and he's already nimble on his feet. He's 3 inches taller than Ed Oliver, if you went into the future, like Kenny said, which I think is a really good take, I think that there's nothing wrong with that. But then I go and look at Joey's take, and I think that that's the trap that we've been in for years. When are we going to hit the dagger now? When are we going to go get impact players for now? And I feel like the biggest dagger was getting Joey Bosa. And the thing is that looking at this draft is blinding us from what the front four is going to look like. And right now, you got Bosa, Rousseau at the ends. For the second strings, you got Landon Jackson on the other side and Solomon on the other. And you could mix in Epinesa whenever you feel like it. You got Dwayne Carter coming in year 2. That's a good 3-tech. You can't force him into a 1-tech. He's just too small. And then
according to Brendan Beam, that's what he's going to do.
Man, listen. When it comes to Dwayne Carter, he's strong for his size. You could force him to the 1-tech, but he's not in this scheme. There's 2 3-techs.
Does everybody?
It's rare.
Does anybody
the 1-tech in this scheme?
Does anybody know what a 1-tech does?
Right over the center.
A 1-tech is supposed to stop the run. Mm-hmm. So if you watch a team and they're running on you up the middle, it's because you got a 3-tech that don't know what the hell he's doing. He's not a 1-tech, so he does not line up over the nose. Mm-hmm. Okay. Ed Oliver is a 3. Now with Walker, he's a 1-tech. That's it. So at that point, he would be the plug-in player that is supposed to stop the run at 6'7", 330 pounds. He can eat up double teams. They show him making a lot of times getting into the backfield, but the reason why he's getting back there is because the edge rushers are getting pressure and he's getting cleanup sacks. Mm-hmm. That's the same thing Russo did.
Yeah.
But Russo has grown from that and came up. So my whole thing is I'm hoping that we drafted so many corners and so many DTs that finally one of them has to frickin' stick. Because we cannot keep – I don't know how many times I can say this. You know how much stuff we have thrown at this defensive line since Sean McDermott has been here? All of our assets and all of our money goes to this damn defensive line when we could have brought in great wide receivers, a different running back, better linemen, and all this other stuff, and you're just not doing it. So sometimes it's like – I hate to say this, but did y'all come from a slow class? Because, you're supposed to be a GM and you're supposed to know football. And you doubling up on defensive tackles, the last time you did it, it didn't work. It blew up in your face. And you did it again. Because we can't get the frickin' line right. And we have a defensive-minded head coach that can't get a defensive line right. I don't understand it. How are you a defensive-minded head coach your whole life and you can't get the defensive line to stop the run?
Not to mention that he's known as like a DB guru now.
Right.
And this guy.
Maybe that's why we took so many DEs, because he's a guru. We can start 9 of them, remember? And they will only have 3 that we got to get rid of. We're going to start 3 of them as linebackers. We're going to change the whole defense.
All over again.
We're going to go to a 3-4 bend but don't break, not a 4-3.
What was the last dog that you know that Sean McDermott coached?
The last dog?
The last dog. Like I'm talking about a dude that you lose sleep at night. What was the last dude?
I want to say Luke from the Carolina. You talking about for the Bills?
No. DB, because he's a DB.
Oh, DB. Oh, okay. The last dog?
I wouldn't expect you to know this, Ken, but I would probably test Joey on this one a little bit more. Just a little on history alone.
I don't really know.
Okay, I'm gonna put you on. The last dude that he really got to coach, that's a dog, hands-on coach, Weapon X, Brian Dawkins, when he was a DB coach in Philly. He's got the mentality. He knows what he's looking for. He came here and hasn't found that dude since Poyer and Hyde left.
Poyer and Hyde, you just can't pull out of the woodwork.
Those were gems that they got.
And Poyer announced his retirement today.
Good for him. Good for him. He was I knew he came. He wanted to go out fishing a little more in Florida, and that was it.
I was mad at him last year that he left us, but I'll throw him some victory blows after he gave us a penalty to push us down the field to kick their butt in a little bit more.
Yeah. He knows what he did.
Even though he broke Keon Coleman's hand, and they say he just fractured it, I think he broke his hand.
Yeah,
one of the
last dogs. Yeah, one of the last dogs.
With that measly bullshit hit because he was mad at Buffalo.
Yeah.
You can be mad as you want, bro. You can be as mad as you want. You had problems and we had to get rid of you. This is a business. We can be friends all you want, but at the end of the day, bro, if you lost a step or your neck's like this, yeah. I'm sorry, I can't have you no more.
Yeah. Once you use goods, you out.
But for sure though. But check this out, right? What did the draft tell you about James Cook's situation? So I want you to go first, Joey Hassel. This draft, what did it tell you about James Cook's situation?
I listened a lot to what Brandon Beane talks about in the interviews and all that stuff. Brandon Beane said he swears 100% that Cook is going to play in a Buffalo Bills uniform next year. And he guarantees that it will be his best season in Buffalo yet, because he wants to prove to Buffalo that he's worth $15 to $20 million a year. The only way he can do that, because he only gets 200 rushes a season or whatever, is he better start making longer runs, 60-yard runs. He better get a bunch of them. Because if you want the money that you are looking for, you better have 2,000 all-purpose yards and a bunch of other stuff, because the top dogs in the running back room get that every year. And my boy from the Eagles, the only reason why he got a pay upgrade this year is because he won a Super Bowl. And he was almost ready to take over the all-time, one of the Russian records that's been held for a long time. Not won by
against his rival team. That would have been crazy.
Right. And they told him, we would love for you to get it. He said, I don't care. Let the young boys eat. That's what I'm talking about. And that's what James Cook don't have. He wants his. He wants his. I understand if you think you're worth 15, bro. But it's like you giving me a $5 food stamp knowing it's only worth $2. And when I go to the store with a food stamp, I'm never coming back to that store because my mom made me look like an idiot. Yep. Walking in there with paper money, red, green, and blue. Yeah, I know. I was on it. And that's what we are doing. Oh, because we're financially strapped. We're this, we're that. Oh, Brandon Beane, when he got here, we're going to fix all that. We ain't going to be financially strapped no more. Could you please tell me what we've been for the last 7 years? Financially strapped. And everyone's like, oh, it's the regime before us. No, it's not. It's not. And I don't know, don't get me wrong. I love Brandon Beane. He does a lot of good things. But, man, he's getting old, bro. And I don't know if he's getting senile or what he's doing. But some of these picks that he's took in the last couple of years does not make any sense. We're trying to get better and get dogs. And you're bringing in Maxwell Harrison, who's like, yeah, man, that's not a dog, bro. That's a clown. That's a clown. I'm not saying that his abilities ain't great. He's small. He's very small. He's like 180. So they said going up against big, strong receivers, he will lose. He gained 15 pounds. Woo-hoo. You're going to get bullied, bro. This is the big boy league, and you need to step it up. So you better hit the weight room. Because Maxwell Harrison is my second best player we drafted in this draft. And if he's going to make an impact, he's got to be a dog. And he told Coach, I never lie. You will not regret taking me. So when I come back to this next season, I'm going to give him a grade. And if the grade is he's too damn small, you just wasted another draft pick.
Okay.
What you got for me, HB?
Okay. Now I'm gonna have to before I get on this James Cook thing, I gotta quickly approach what he said about Maxwell Harrison. Because before this whole thing is over, I told Kenny that I think that he gives me the frame of Leotis McKelvin when Leotis McKelvin was here. He has the frame of Leotis, and Leotis got better as the years went by. He wasn't one of those guys. He wasn't like Terrence McGee where he was balling and then Terrence had injury issues and he was on and off the field, and more often he was on later in his career. Leotis McKelvin, as he got older, he started to get better. And I feel like he gives me those type of vibes, but he has a slight more upside because he's stickier in man coverage. And he plays above his size. He's only a tick smaller than Trey Amos, right? And that's the guy that Kenny wanted. But when it came to the actual, to the board, they trusted the board and they'd have to go up to go get him. So
he was hurt.
Fell to him. Yeah, that's what it was.
I'm not, like I said, I'm not saying that he's no good. I'm just saying I think he needs to add some weight to his frame.
Yeah.
And he said if he added 15 or 20 pounds, he could still run when he ran in the 40. It wouldn't slow him down any.
Yeah.
So I think, because this is what the knock on him is. He's not built for a 17 or 18 game season. He's too small. So at that thing, they're saying they got to get him in the weight room and they got to build him. That's the same thing they said about Kincaid. And look what happened to him last year.
Yeah.
And you said at the start of the draft, we need impact players that can come in day one and start. Where are they? Please tell me which one it is, besides Landon Jackson.
We need plug-and-play starters, and in case anything...
Oh, wait, Landon Jackson won't start right off the bat either because we got all these other dudes that we signed that are hurt all year, and we have to wrap them in bubble wrap called Joey Bosa.
Yep.
So I understand that Joey Bosa is an upgrade, but at the same time, Brandon Beane made it self-explanatory. Him and Matt Milano are like a bowling ball. And when you throw out yourself like a bowling ball, you put your body on the line, and that causes injuries. And that's exactly what those two players do. And he said, you got to go back and reel them in. I'm sorry, but with those kind of players, you're not going to reel them in. That's what's in their DNA.
Yeah.
So at that rate, everybody said you got to wrap him in bubble wrap. Thank God we got Landon Jackson.
Good insurance policy. Great.
Because I think that I don't think he'll be playing all season. I think he'll have an injury somewhere and he'll be out for a few weeks somewhere. Yeah. Joey Bosa. And that's because the last few seasons he has not given a full season. He's at least missed 4 games every season.
Okay.
If we go to the playoffs, that's an even longer season.
Yeah.
So it's not 17. It's more like 24. You can't even make it through 17.
Only reason why I would give him a little bit more of an upside in Buffalo is just because we have a rotational defensive front. Outside of that, I think that we'll be able to babysit him enough for him to stay the duration of the season. But toward the end, hopefully we can lock something up before the last 3 games of the season, at least a playoff spot, where we can limit his gameplay. So when we can rev him up toward the end of the season going into the playoffs. If I was the coach, I'd probably do something like that, like we did with Von Miller. But on this James Cook situation, right, I think that us passing up on every running back in this draft, it pissed me off. I'm going to be honest. It pissed me off because there's no insurance policy after him. I know that we just re-signed every running back on our team from last year. Ty Johnson, Shavers. Shavers didn't even play, but Shavers is on our preseason squad. He's on a practice squad. We re-signed him in case we lose Cook. You got Ray Davis on the rookie deal. They got to know something we don't know. And what I think is that they're going to give him that bag. After
we got all new scouts this year. We got all new scouts this year. So the players we took, because we overhauled our whole scouting team, is due to the new guys we brought in. So at least for this year, I have to at least say, okay, let's see what happens, because sometimes you look at people on paper and you're like, who the hell is he? Okay. Now, next year, we don't know. Walker might go out there and freaking get 5 sacks in the first 3 games, and London Jackson might be sitting there looking like, I can't get past these guys. What the hell's the matter? I was all ACC. I was a wrecking ball. Well, guess what?
He better not with that. He was doing.
Oh yeah,
It's a learning curve.
I'm crashing out on him.
But we all saw what he looked like when he first got there. Slapping him like he was like he was out on the street and he was a pimp and he was like, psh.
Yeah,
I was like, what is that? Thank God.
When I first saw that thing.
All right, that's for you, Joey Hatch.
Yes, sir, Corey Blaine. I did too, brother.
All right, so I want to add on to this James Cook.
This is exactly what I see James Cook doing.
Is that what you're giving James Cook? Are you paying him?
I'm paying.
Oh, that's.
And the reason why I say that.
Where's your wife? Because we got to talk to her, because she's the money of the operation. We got to make sure this is going to go down.
Hey, this was on me. This is on me. So before I go, I got one last thing to say. If I'm James Cook and I'm looking at this draft and I don't see a running back get drafted, I'm going like, okay, so maybe I could trust them. Maybe they don't. Maybe they do think something of me. Maybe they're all in on me. They're gonna really give me a solid chance. And maybe we'll see in the cap room next year. They made it happen for Benford. They said they was gonna re-sign him. If I just play and I ball and I control my own fate. That's it.
Maybe we'll have a starting
season.
Maybe we'll have one of our corners that we drafted run the ball. We got 11 of them. We can manage to let one get hurt.
Yeah. Seriously.
So I'm actually stuck between a rock and a hard place, right? Because I look at it in 2 different ways, right? So the fact that we didn't draft a running back, meaning there's a possibility that we might pay him, right? But that's not a high possibility, and I'm gonna tell you why, right? So before I get to that, so the reason why I say is two ways. So we could possibly pay him, especially because with Genty getting paid that amount of money in the first round, he even touched the field
32.
He's the second highest paid running back that even touched an NFL field yet. That right there, James Cook kind of got that leverage on his hands now, and most running backs as well. So that's the first thing. So they might pay him because of that, or he might up the price. They go, okay, we have to pay him 15, probably 13, right? So that's a possibility. But how I look at it, I don't see the Bills pay him even after next year, unless he just have another year like he did this year, plus more. Because I think I see Ray Davis snap count going up. I see them splitting more snaps this year. I see James Cook. I feel like I'm gonna see James Cook less on the field, because at the end of the day, this is a business. The Bills will not want to get James Cook the same amount of snaps that he had last year, just so they could pay him what he wants. I think they are ready for. I think this year is going to show you that they're going to split snaps with Ray Davis, and they just basically going to train Ray Davis or get him up and going so he could take the lead next year. That's how I look at it. And then we're going to draft another running back the following draft. So I can see it both ways. He could get paid, but I also don't see the Bills allowing him to make that type of money. I see them splitting the snaps with him this year for sure. I see Ray Davis stepping up. They're going to be more comfortable with him like they was towards the end of the season. But he got hurt against Denver, in which why he didn't play the last 2 games.
Yeah, he got slept.
He got slept. Josh Allen threw a hospital ball. But now I can see them. Now I can see them now. Okay, he got better hands. He's better when it comes to the catching. He's just as dominant when it runs. He just don't have the burst. So I see them splitting snaps, and I see James Cook walking next year to another team. So that's my opinion.
If you look at what Brandon Beane has done with the last couple running backs we had, Motor was here 4 years and it was gone. Then we got James Cook, which I think we got lucky to get James Cook in the second, and we have had him 3 years. Next year will be his 4th. He will be gone. He is a 4-year rental. That's what they are. But James Cook's brother is in behind him, coaching him, telling him, you got to get everything you can, because the life of a running back in the NFL is 4 to 6 years. So if you're going to be here 6 years and you're going to get pummeled and all that, you better get everything you can get now. Yeah. Because once you leave, they do not take care of your medical. You got mental problems like Daryl Talley, that's not their problem. Daryl Talley is broke because he has to keep paying doctors because he has mental problems from taking too many hits. Same thing with Antonio Brown. If you saw how Antonio Brown got hit when he was helpless, he didn't even catch the ball, and that dude hit him in the head and he was on the ground. That's why Antonio Brown's brain is the way it is. And that's the same thing. Like, we have corners that's had 3 or 4 concussions. We have corners like Tyler Rapp. He hit you. His arm goes limp, bro.
Oh, for sure.
You are going to have to replace these people. And I hate to say it, but our slot corner has had 4 concussions in the last 2 years. So at some point, what are you going to do? Because for a long time, everyone was like, oh, my God, Mitch Morris, concussion.
Oh, no,
eventually, you're going to have to replace them. So maybe we signed or drafted and have 11 of them, because there might be some faces that are leaving that we wouldn't expect.
See, I see what you're saying, but then again, it's kind of like that will actually have to happen, though. You know what I mean? For us to actually be in that type of situation. And me personally, right. I don't think the Bills are counting on that. Hopefully they not, because I'm sure not. So hopefully it don't have to go down or come down to that. But now I have a question. Bills passing up on receivers during this draft. How do you feel about it? How do you feel about that, HB? That the Bills did not draft a receiver towards the last round?
There was a couple guys that I had my eye on, more toward a special team perspective, and maybe guys that if somebody went down, I would like. I like Savion Williams out of TCU. I felt like that was somebody we could have grabbed. I know that Thornton came in from Texas, and he came for an interview or a private workout. And there was a couple guys that they had draped. I think that I was a little disappointed that we didn't go like mid-round to grab a receiver, but I wasn't expecting to grab one anyways, because I felt like our offense already is already set with a philosophy. You don't see the 49ers trying to get certain receivers because they already run a running type of offense. They run a West Coast offense. And looking at the guys that we have, you got Justin Palmer. You got Keon Coleman in the year 2 looking to improve, sending Josh Allen paragraphs about how he's so excited for year 2 and can't wait to improve. You got Shakir in the slot. You got Samuel trying to find an identity. You got Samuel and Shenault. I feel like they're not going to see the field as much because you don't run an aces type of offense where you got 2 wide receivers on both sides. They already told Kincaid as soon as the AFC Championship game was over with that you better add some weight and you better come with purpose next year because you're going to be the guy next year. Dawson Knox is going to be on his way out sooner rather than later. And they already got Davidson at the helm, like you said, with the guys with future contracts. You got guys like that. I'm not sure if Morris is still on the squad, and I know he wouldn't have permission to sign with somebody else. He had a couple of visits. That'll have to look up later. But you drafted another tight end in the draft. So I feel like this is purely going to be a competitive nature at that position. That was more of a future pick. I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised in short that we did not get a receiver in this draft. I feel like we're set where we're at. We have an identity. We don't want to mess with the identity. We're just going to put a couple different wrinkles in the offense. Palmer's the wrinkle that we needed. And Keon is the guy that's going to get better because of it.
Agree. So now I'm going to give my honest opinion on it. Mm-hmm. I'm actually glad we didn't sign a receiver. And the reason why I said I am glad is because if we did sign a receiver, he wouldn't be a starter. Unless you just out of this world, because you're not starting off with Joshua Palmer, who has experience, who has a highlight tape that is very nasty, and that a lot of people are sleeping on, especially Bills Mafia fans. Y'all don't know what type of weapon we have. He is special. We also got Keon Coleman coming off his rookie year, and one thing you can say about Sean McDermott, they don't play rookies, but when they do play rookies, they let them play for year 1, year 2, and year 3. They just don't easily replace rookies. They don't replace starters. So I just feel like last year we had the most successful offense that we ever had in franchise history. In history, and we already upgraded at the wide receiver position with Joshua Palmer. And do y'all want to know why we ran 65% play action? I mean, do y'all want to know why we ran 65% of the time last year? Because we had receivers that could not get open. Did you know the Bills was the 29th least team to run play action? Because none of our receivers could get separation. We got that now. So this offense could possibly become a 65, 35 to a 50-50, just like that with one player as a Joshua Palmer. So even though y'all feel like, oh, well, Joshua Palmer he ain't really that big, he's a big difference. We don't need no more help. And honestly, and if we did drop a receiver, he would have to outplay Keon Coleman. And let's be honest. Do y'all think Brandon Beanham will actually put Keon Coleman in that predicament? Because if that's the case, we would have signed another veteran.
Right.
Instead of drafting another rookie receiver, we would have just drafted another. I mean, we would have got another veteran and free agency to have competition with Keon Coleman. It doesn't make any sense. So, in my opinion, I'm glad we didn't race a pick on a receiver in the early rounds because I just don't see him playing on the field. It wouldn't have made much of an impact as we think it would have.
Not at all.
In my thought. What about you, Ransom?
You know, I always want that flashy guy. I see that one receiver in every draft, and for some reason, like last year, I wanted Brian Thompson Jr. bad as hell. Bad. He was my guy. I didn't see one of them this year. I didn't have one. And my whole thing is Keon Coleman. He wasn't so great in his first year. He had some injuries. He had expectations of having a way better year. Then he got here, and he said, whoa. It's not going to be what I thought. That's exactly what he told them on the Late Show with Shannon Sharp and Ocho Cinco. Okay. When he came back, he said he wanted to come back and he wanted to get right back where he was, but he didn't want to mess everything up that they had going. So he just fit in where he got in. Okay. I understand that. Well, Keon Coleman has been in Texas with his cousin, C.D. Lamb, and they have been practicing every day. And he texts Josh Allen 1,500 times a day. This is what I'm doing. I want to get better. This and that. And Josh said, I love him. But damn, bro, he texts me, yo, can I get 5 minutes? Can I get 5 minutes? Okay. And there's a guy on our practice squad. Last year, he got one pass. He's 6'4". He's got speed. And he ran all the way down the field with the ball. And I think they have not given this dude the opportunity that he should have. So if we brought in another wide receiver like we did, but he's a rookie. So Shavers, I hope, has some kind of role, even if it's special teams and he's on the 53-man, because when you need somebody, you can pull him in and he's 6'4", bro, and he is quick.
John Robertson will make the team.
That's what I'm hoping for because he's earned his stripes.
Yes, he has.
And like Sean McDermott says, you got to work for everything here. And boy, he's worked for it. And that's what I'm hoping. And just to let everybody know, y'all can sleep on Josh Palmer all you want. I'm going to explain something to you real quick. Everybody's real high on Trent McDuffie. We were going to draft Trent McDuffie to Buffalo. That's how good he was. Well, if you go back to when the Chargers played the Kansas City Chiefs, he was dogging him. Palmer was eating him up and running right past him like he was standing still.
Filthy.
He has the best percentage on our team of getting open. Like Shakir was the best one. I think Shakir was the best one this year. The second one was the one we brought in from the Browns, and he was at 60%. Other than that, there's no receiver on our team that can get open. So at that point, I am so glad we brought in Josh Palmer because we all know what the offense was last year before we brought in number 18. None of these guys could get open, and we couldn't throw the ball for shit. Sorry for my language. But how do we know that that's not going to be the same? So what are you telling me? Josh Palmer's going to get 25 balls a game because he's the only one getting open?
And And
Then we're right back to a number. Then we're right back to a number one forcing balls.
Oh no, for sure. And I actually want to add on to that, right? Is the fact that I'm hearing this constantly, all throughout the Bills community, is that we need to add more. That the Bills is not building a team around Josh Allen. Last year, we pretty much had a perfect offense. We had the most efficient offense that the NFL had almost seen in history. We was averaging 30, 35 points a game. We was destroying teams. If that's not putting weapons around him, then I don't know what is. Why add more players to a system that's not broken? This
Let me ask you.
got us to the AFC Championship.
Let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
I know this might sound stupid, but if you were Tom Brady and you won the Super Bowls you won, and you were here in place of Josh Allen, would you be happy with these receivers? 100% happy. There's nothing you would change.
I mean, if it's working, because let's be honest, what receivers did Tom Brady ever have besides Randy Moss and Deion Branch? Outside of Deion Branch and Randy Moss, he never had receivers. He made his receivers, like Josh Allen made Matt Collins last year. Like he made, you know what I mean?
Edelman.
Oh yeah, Edelman was nice. And Wes Walker, 2 slots. But guess what? We got a slot.
And
we had we had here. We got the slots too.
Yeah. And I'm not really saying that like I'm not really saying we need anybody. But what I'm saying is last year we had to make a trade to bring people in because we couldn't get the ball down the field passing. And we have the same players we had last year, but except for Josh Palmer. So what in that order is changing? So you're telling me that in 1 year they're all going to learn how to get open and get space?
No, but this is the thing. It takes one player to open up a whole offensive playbook, just like when Stephon Diggs came. Ain't nothing changed except for one receiver, and it changed our whole entire offense to this day. Be a whole different team. Joshua Palmer has that ability. Joshua Palmer has the ability to where Josh Allen can actually throw the ball deep again. We haven't seen that Josh Allen since 2021.
Josh Palmer was a second-round player. He was never a starter. So you're bringing a second-round player who has never played a full season or 4 games in a row, and you're expecting this good dude to get open and change our whole offense?
The Chargers
He's a second-string player.
Was crazy. He had a lot of opportunity over there in San Diego. They was loaded on receivers and slots.
Yeah, that's why he was sitting behind. But still, what I'm saying is he's a second like player receiver in his old team. Are you that happy to saying that he could change the whole offense like Cooper did? Because if not, we're going to wind up back in the same spot.
Cooper didn't change anything.
He's an upgrade. He was an upgrade to Cooper.
He's a way upgraded. Upgrade.
Palmer was overshadowed by Keenan Allen for all those years, and then they got Johnson in the draft, and they put a lot of stock in him and try to throw him balls even though he couldn't catch.
Well, see, I
forgot we got Palmer on this team. Let's go give him some catches, and he excelled.
Everybody said that last year we couldn't throw a pass to an open player until we brought in Cooper because Cooper took the pressure off of Coleman and everybody else. If you do not have a receiver to take the pressure off, you did nothing. So if we go into the season and Palmer is not what we think, where are we?
Right back.
We're screwed. Right where we started last year, we have to look for somebody all over again. Mm-hmm. So my hopes are he is exactly what I think he is, the guy who can get open, a great route runner, like I've seen, because if he doesn't, we're in trouble.
And also, too, I would like to add this to this, right? Because you keep saying you hope he is. Like you say, he was a second string, right?
Yeah.
For him to be a second string, and he was the 8th most highest player when it comes to separation, that talks volume for you to be a second stringer. And compared to all the starters in the league, you have the 8th highest separation rating. He's a problem, bro. He just didn't get the opportunity. He's been overshadowed. If he's that
good, the Chargers have a mental problem because they should have had him on the field then. But right now, it sounds like they weren't confident enough in him that Keenan Allen was the man to go with, even though he was older. Yeah. But I so hope that he is what we think he is because, like you said, that'll open up a lot for us. But if he isn't, that's what I'm hoping is not going to happen because if that happens, we're right back where we were and none of our receivers can get separation and Josh has to do it all again.
I just hope that Palmer gets the opportunities that he earned throughout the years with the Chargers, and he doesn't run into the same problem that he ran into when Harbaugh became coach, which is basically having a coach that has a running philosophy and they run the ball more because they had J.K. Dobbins and Gus Edwards. Also, previously were in Baltimore. And when the Harbaugh was in the 49ers, they had Frank Gore, LaMichael James. They had a crew back there and Kendall Hunter. So they had a run by committee type of approach, which chews up a lot of clock, and that's his philosophy to win. Good defense and run the ball. Over here, it's good defense and run the ball. So if you can't get open, it's going to be a problem for us. I second and third that. But I feel that he is the player that is going to graduate being with the Bills. He's in a good situation mentally and physically. He came in healthy. He's right by his house in Canada. He's in a mental space where he feels comfortable where he's at. And he's in a coaching staff that's flexible that he'll be able to come home on the weekends and everything is great for him. So I think that this is a good fit for him. I think that we're going to benefit off of that fruit.
I hope he comes to Buffalo with a big chip on his shoulder and he proves everybody wrong. Just like I think Shedeur Sanders should have a huge boulder on his shoulders and he should show everybody wrong too.
Oh yeah.
So
sorry, I'm getting a little bit. I'm getting a little bit ahead. I'm sorry.
No, you good. So this is my thing, right? Joe Brady, he was the OC for LSU, right? He was more of a pass heavy because he had the receivers. He had Jamar Chase and he had Justin Jefferson. He had straight dogs, right? They mainly passed. When he went to Carolina, when they had Cam Newton, he mainly passed, right? Yeah, it was more like 40, 60, 50 along them lines. Last year, the reason why it was 65 to 35 is because we had no receivers to get open. So guess what? We had to rely on the run game. Right. And guess what? We had no separation. I think we was like what, the 27th team in separation. So we had no choice but to run that ball. We didn't have the personnel so he could open up that pass game. And then we was dealing with injuries throughout the years. Amari Cooper got hurt. Keon Coleman got hurt. Dalton Kincaid got hurt. Shakir got hurt. His ankle got hurt for like a game. So we Curtis Samuel. We had a broken receiver core, tight end core for certain periods of the season. So we had to rely on the run game.
And you know what? You made me feel a lot better with what you just said. Because you said we didn't have a run game. We were like 60-30 or whatever the case was. But after a while, they started getting open. That's why we don't run play action. This is why we run 10 bubble screens a damn game, because we can't get open and get separation. And the bubble screens don't work.
Oh, no.
Supposedly, this Kendall Panther, the guy we took in the 7th round, that's what he does.
Yeah, that's what he does. Yep.
So you took a gadget player in the 7th round when there's better receivers on the board. So for me, I think they took a receiver, but I think he's a camp body because I don't really think they expect him to make the team. You know, we need camp bodies. So what happens when you want a good corners, you bring in a bunch of them and iron sharpens iron. So I'm hoping that's what their philosophy is here, that we finally get the players that we need and we don't have to compromise.
Which is exactly why I said when we had the discussion about the corners earlier, was that you bring in all these corners, you have 11 corners on this team, and it's going to be an all-out competition to just see who is going to be the guys that we need on this team that can fit the philosophy that we want, not just from September to December, but going into the playoffs. And not only are they all young, they're all 22, 21, 23. I can see that they love young players, and not just 20, like I'm talking low 20s, like barely 21 type players. That's what Sean McDermott's into. If you see his MO, you get guys like Tremaine Edmonds. When they first came, he was not even 21 when he got drafted. You see all these guys now, they're young cats, defensive linemen, young pups at 21 years of age, 20 years of age. 23 is probably the oldest guys they draft.
You want to know 2 years ago how Kansas City won the Super Bowl? They had fresh legs in their back in their back seven. They had 3 rookie corners, and that took them to a Super Bowl and won. Fresh legs does a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you make mistakes as a rookie, fresh legs does a lot.
And I agree. And also with John Robert right here, I actually agree with this. Jordan Hancock has played safety and nickel cornerback, even though he is listed as a CB. So now, like, I ain't gonna lie, HB, you just gave me a different perspective with the 11 corners. One could be a gadget, but not only that, I noticed a lot of cornerbacks do transfer to safety, especially during towards the end of their careers. So honestly, they could become our safety because that's one of my biggest concerns because we're only gonna have one next year. So that could be a high possibility now. Now that I said that, I ain't think about that.
We got 3 or 4 corners out of the 11 that we have that can play strong safety or corner, because Maxwell Harrison can also play strong safety. So when you look him up, they had him marked as 2 positions, DE and a corner. Same thing with Jordan Strong, I think it was. He can play safety and he can play.
Dorian Strong, yeah.
Yeah, he can play both. And his father was a big-time weightlifter, and he lifted with him. So the boy is strong. He's very strong.
I was just going to tell
you. You will not bully that corner. You will not bully him. He is a physical, hands-on, grab you, but he's different than Elam. Different.
That's one thing I was going to ask you, now that we're on that. Because one of these 2 rookie corners is going to have to transition to safety at some point, and not free safety, strong safety. And in both of them for the safety, one of them is going to have to be a free and one's going to be a strong. But you have 2 one-year contract players as strong safety in Hamlin and Forrest, and then you got Dorian Strong or Hancock that could go in at strong safety. Now, which one of those would you rather have to be a safety? That's to be determined because we still haven't seen them in camp yet. But when you look at those guys down the pipe, you can keep most of these corners, which is why I say the 7 is probably going to be the magic number, especially playing a nickel 4-3 defense. There's still going to be a nickel 4-3 defense. Do not get it twisted. But they are going to play a more man philosophy type of defense in the stretch of the season, and they're going to mix that in with the philosophy that Mike Pellegrino wants to bring into this defense.
That's what they said was going to happen this year. We were going to play a little more man-to-man because of the coordinator that we brought in. Mm-hmm. So it's like, at that point, I think Kenny said something or somebody said something on a podcast I was with. Why wouldn't you keep Elam then if he's a man-to-man corner?
Because Elam had 4 years to prove that he could be a man-to-man corner, and then when he gave it to him and gave him a rookie, he couldn't even check him.
He couldn't learn. The thing is he couldn't learn zone. He couldn't learn zone. He could do man-to-man, but he couldn't learn zone. So I understand why they got rid of him because he was here 4 years and he went nowhere. So why would he, try to do that with him? But at the same time, if we're going to go more man-to-man, maybe the coach that we brought in was like, yeah, dude, it's time to go.
And he know because that's his system. So
right, and he's not going to put up with that shit.
One thing I want to say, when you said that Maxwell Harrison was more like a clown when it came to when it came to him coming out and being so hyped and all that stuff, right? So I think that the things that we look for in players is for them to be excited to come here, right? I think he's a guy with a chip on his shoulder, redshirt freshman, then had to come in, got his spot through injury. Somebody got injured. He ended up coming in, taking that spot, and never gave it back. You have a guy that had to fight to keep that spot, and then set up himself to be a first-round draft pick. I think that there's enough dog in him that they saw, and then they like guys with stories. They like guys with a certain type of pedigree where they know what it is to be on the bottom and earn their way to the top. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde. You got him. You got Benford. You got him as in Harrison. You got Benford, 6th-round draft pick. Late round draft picks. You got Taron Johnson that hit that a ball darted him in the head and he became a joke. And he's a meme too, where he was doing the drill and then it darted him right in the face and he kept finishing the drill.
Yeah.
Landon Jackson was bitch slapping the ball. I mean the pins and he oh come on. The coach is like, oh come on. You got guys with stories on his team. Guys, got a homeless man at running back, an ex-homeless
Yeah.
man at running back.
Who's got a home now who has 2 roommates because they both came from Penn State.
And now you got dudes coming out of you know the UK. Coming out of the UK, you got 3 dudes coming out the UK now, 3 dogs with stories.
So right now we have 3 players from Kentucky.
Mm-hmm. You got Carter, you got Walker, you got Davis, and you got Hairston. All play with each other. All know each
Ray
other.
Davis.
Yeah.
Ray Davis. That's who they're staying with. He said he like my brother. Tell him he's got a roommate.
His reaction was the most wholesome reaction that I saw out of anybody. That was straight. That took me home. That
was genuine, man. That was genuine.
Like that was like I was chilling with Kenny at the house, and we're like, man, dude, we got happy for man. Like we like it brings like it brings a home feel to it, and I think that getting guys like Ray Davis that produce, that have that mentality, that come from nothing, that's the type of mentality that we have here. I just hope that it translates down the line with us winning a Lombardi Trophy, and that's what the goal is. That's the chase. That's the chase.
Man, listen, I will cheese and I will cry and I will do all that too if you give me a shit ton of money and sign me to an NFL contract, even if I'm left bench.
Yeah.
Okay? So let me tell you something. When I can buy my mama a house, I'll cry too, brother.
That's facts. That's facts. That is facts.
But one thing I will say before we move on though, one thing I would like to say is that when we did draft Maxwell Harrison, he seemed like he wanted to be here. Because I think
he does.
Anybody that get drafted want to be a Buffalo Bill. Because we contended.
He said straight out, I could have went anywhere. I am honored and I was humbled by God to get chosen by the Buffalo Bills.
Come on. He's gonna show out. And guess what? You know why he's gonna show out? Because his spot is not solidified as a starter.
Chosen by God. That's a
come on.
He's coming in thinking I have to beat out Trey White.
Oh yeah, he's coming with that mentality.
And he said, I am the guy. I love Josh Allen. He said, I am the guy that's going to get the ball back for Josh Allen so we can win more games. I love that.
He went to the Detroit Lions Bills game and saw it straight up and was like, man, like this, I would love to have a quarterback like that. And to see now, I could only imagine how he feels to say, man, now I'm playing with him.
It's like he manifested
I want to be here. That should make the both of you be like, man, listen, even though we might have our concerns, man, we got a dog that want to be here.
Man, listen, I don't even know what I would say if I met Josh Allen. If I met Josh Allen, I might be like, yo, dog, I love you. He might be like, what the hell's your problem? I don't mean like that, brother. But like, I don't know what I would say to him, bro, because I would be like, I'd be so geed, like, I wouldn't know what to do.
Yeah, you be starstruck because he has an aura that he brings to the city that we live in. Like, he embraces that, and I love that.
And I'm about to say, but also too, this is how you know we got a dog, is that he's a willing tackler. He loves to tackle. He don't run away from contact. He ain't gonna let you run right past him. That's what we need. That's a dog mentality.
According to everybody, he misses tons of tackles. Now, let me explain something to you. He loves contact. He does not shy away from it. Oh. Does people miss tackles here and there? Yes. Did you not see the Buffalo Bills miss a shit ton of them last season?
Yeah.
Not everybody in our team's a great tackler.
Nope.
So, that doesn't mean he's not going to tackle and he's going to shy away. There was no time that he tackled that he shied away or didn't lay the lumber on the video that I watched.
But
his best thing is the pick six.
Oh, no, for sure. But now check this out though. What are your thoughts on Shedeur Sanders' situation? What you got for me, HB, man? What you got for me, dog? How you feel about the way they've been treating my boy?
Oh, dude. You and I both know that I'm no stranger to this, but being blackballed is a real thing, ladies and gentlemen. When you see someone being made an example of on live television, and I don't think none of this is funny. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think none of this is funny. I think that when it comes to Shedeur Sanders, I think that is a two-way street. He might have felt himself a little too much on his end. It's not his fault. What he puts on tape, his preparation, it's not for him to be not even in the second round. I don't know why nobody even traded up to get him in the first round or the second round, to be honest with you. I thought he was going to be top of the second round. And when I saw that he didn't get picked in second nor third round, I thought it was outright disgusting. I'm going to be honest with you. I thought that it was a little bit too far. The joke went a little bit too far. I think that when it comes to his last name, I think that he doesn't control who his father is, but he does control. I think he does control what he does in the meetings. I think that I know for a fact we weren't at the meeting, so we don't know what really happened. But you know, when you see the media and the way it's portrayed, and you kind of see the little nuggets of how he portrays himself, he kind of like has this bigger than life kind of attitude with him, and or larger than life type attitude with him. And I think that it rubbed people the wrong way. But there's nothing wrong with believing in yourself. And if you got the type of tape that you got, and your dad is Deion freaking Sanders, of course you're gonna have that swag. Of course you're gonna have that undeniable, like, I'm a winner mentality, regardless of what nobody think of me. So I think that there was something wrong with the way they approached it, and there should have been no reason. There should have been no reason for him to be picked by the Cleveland Browns that have now a carousel of quarterbacks, and two of them are not going to make the 53. And I don't care what you say.
Yeah.
I don't care what you say, bro. I honestly think it's going to be Deshaun Watson and Pickett. They're both going to be gone. I think they're gonna have Flacco, Sanders, and Gabriel, and that's it. Every other quarterback there, if they're really serious about winning, you get rid of Deshaun Watson and you get rid of Kenny Pickett and then keep everybody else. Because Joe Flacco is Deion Sanders' age. And then you got what's his name? Then you got Shedeur Sanders. That he ready to have a watch on already. He already ready. It don't matter what round he was drafted in. He's ready to give it to Pittsburgh. I promise you that. Pittsburgh. And Dylan Gabriel ain't going nowhere. I think he's a valid backup.
Well, I want to add on to that, especially with the Deshaun Watson. They can't get rid of him, if I'm not mistaken, because the cap hit they're gonna get is just as bad as his damn contract. Right?
They did it with Russ. Somebody will eat that cap. If you're serious about winning, you will eat that cap. I'm sorry.
But yeah, so I ain't gonna lie. So this is my opinion on the situation. I know a lot of people say he's arrogant and all this and that third, but if you go from Jackson State and you turn that school around in 1 year, I'll be confident. You transfer to a Colorado team that was like 1-12, 1-10, and then you turn them around and pretty much almost flip that record to the whole opposite direction. I'll be just that confident too. And you ranked. I don't think I ever seen them boys ranked since I've been born. Them boys was ranked and within a year. And then on top of that, when he was in elementary, when he was in high school, he always been that man. He always had a winning culture. So why wouldn't he think when he go to the NFL, he won't have the same results? I'll be confident too. And if I'm not mistaken, wouldn't every team and organization in the NFL want a confident quarterback? You want a quarterback that's scared, that's nervous? He telling you like, I'm gonna do what I gonna do. And y'all already see what I do. Look at my tape. That's what y'all get from me. And on top of that, hopefully I get an offensive line. I'll probably be double as good. I might be way better because I was running for my life and still was ranked. I was running for my life and was still a top 3 quarterback in this college rank. I was the most hit quarterback in the college league. And yet I stood 10 toes and turned this whole motherfucking franchise over. This whole school. Like, come on, bro. So for them to say he's arrogant, that is crazy to me. It doesn't make any sense because that's what you would want. And then, like you said, you can't control his father. Everybody know how Deion Sanders is. Who? After they acting like, what's his name? Is it LeVar Ball? LeVar Ball?
Yeah, LeVar Ball. Yeah. LeVar Ball, yeah.
They giving him that treatment, but the crazy thing is, if I'm not mistaken, I thought Deion Sanders was very loved within the NFL. Maybe I'm wrong, That's what I thought. I didn't know he was really hated. In my opinion, he's a Hall of Famer because you've seen players that act like him, like Chad Johnson, T.O. They didn't even make the Hall of Fame. He actually made it acting the same way. So I actually thought he was liked. So me, in my opinion, I think all of these teams was in on it to make an example out of him. The NFL had an agenda, and they're gonna pay for it because I think a lot of people gonna speak up. I think this is gonna get more ugly than we think. I think the noise is not over it because he got drafted yet, and the truth is gonna come out soon.
Before Joey goes, shout out to Shedeur Sanders for cheering up his brother and making a little side joke. He's like, "Oh man, he got to wait. Like he's waiting over here. I can only imagine myself because he already knew he wasn't gonna be drafted. Because he got shook out of his boots in one of the games. He was like, "Oh yeah, it's over for me." But he just got picked up by the Buccaneers, undrafted. So good for him. But no, that's what real brothers do, man. Keep that chin up, man. For real. Go ahead, Joey.
Shedeur Sanders. Now, I'm going to take y'all back. Some of y'all ain't as old as me, but I remember when Deion was drafted and he had jewelry dripping. He was flashy. He came in talking to junk. Whoa! He was the man, bro. He was the man. Okay? Back then, you had to have something that separated you from everybody else. And Deion Sanders kicked the damn door in on draft night and never stopped his whole career. Okay? And yes, there's a difference between cocky and knowing the truth. Okay? Deion Sanders knew he was the man. Nobody could take him out and say, you are not this good. He would call you a liar because everybody knew what Deion Sanders was. Shedeur Sanders, man, listen. He took the most sacks in college, which not all that's his fault. The offensive line and other stuff too. Maybe he's holding the ball a little long. That's fine. But every place he went, he turned around. Every place. So all schools that he went to in college, he turned completely around. So if you were Shedeur Sanders and you are Deion Sanders' son, is it cocky or is it just, I'm this damn good? Because I've seen quarterbacks go that didn't make one completion during the combine, and it took 2 rounds for Shedeur Sanders to go. Now, I see this going 2 ways. The place where he went is a horrible place. That's where QBs go to die. The only place that they go worse than that is the New York Jets. Number 2, Shedeur Sanders comes in with a mountain on his shoulder, and he shoves it down your throat because you tried to make an example because of what his father was when he was in the league. And everybody says, well, if his son goes pro, what stops his dad from coming up and being his coach? Because that's what he's going to do. That's what he's done his whole career is coddle him. No. Deion Sanders didn't ask to come there to be your coach. You asked Deion Sanders. So it's different. It's not like he said, oh, let me come there and help my son out. He came there to turn around a program that was never ranked. So all I'm saying is I hope Shedeur Sanders comes out and balls out. But you can't beat us, bro. You can't beat us, and you can't go to the Super Bowl. Other than that, I hope he has one of the greatest seasons his first year that you've ever seen a quarterback have, so he can tell everybody to kiss his shorts. Because they blackballed him for a reason. And this is kind of the same thing they did to Donald Trump. In this country, when they don't like you, they will do whatever, and they will make any excuse to say it's okay. Mm-hmm. And everybody just accepts that. Shedeur Sanders is not that guy. He is not going to accept that. He will show you guys why he should have been taken in the first round amongst the top 10.
Not afraid to say we love Trump over here. I ain't gonna lie to you.
And also too, I would like to add on to this. And also, I would like to add on to this about Shedeur Sanders. Is for number 1, Shedeur Sanders was ranked one of the most accurate quarterbacks of this year. Deep ball, A1. Mid passes, A1. His accuracy is pinpoint like Tua. It's literally pinpoint. No, number two, y'all try to downplay him because he tapped the ball before he passed. Peyton Manning did it. Tom Brady did it. Baker Mayfield did it. And Josh Allen be doing it. It's just real quick. You just can't really see. But if you slow down that tape, almost every quarterback tapped the ball for the most part. So y'all literally made up any excuse to kill this man's image. Y'all try to kill him. But guess what? He's still risen. He still got drafted. And I hope that the Cleveland Browns give him the opportunity. If not, I want them to give him the same opportunity the Patriots gave Milton this year. And you trade him away and give him an opportunity somewhere else. And shame on them Steelers. Shame on them Steelers for not picking that brother up. Y'all don't even have a quarterback.
Shame on Mike Tomlin for that. How dare
you?
How dare you?
You know what? Mike Tomlin, man. That's bullshit.
You get Will Howard, so we'll see how good that does. That was
so you're hoping to God that Mason Rudolph is going to be the best thing since sliced bread? Because I'll tell you what, right now, Mike Tomlin ain't to play that shit.
No, bro.
Even if you would have brought Shedeur Sanders there, I think that the coach from the Steelers could have been one of the guys to reel him in. Okay, it's a black coach, a black player. They've all been hated on, and I think that the coach from the Steelers could have actually taught him some shit. Excuse my language, but he's been in this league a long time, and he's never had a losing season. And all he's got to do is prove one thing to this kid for him to buy in. Now you send him to the Browns, which is the worst freaking place you could have sent him. So it's not like they stopped trying to screw him. They're still trying to screw him by sending him to Cleveland.
I'm not gonna lie. Cleveland still looks formidable. Look at you get Quinshawn Judkins second round. You get the guy that you wanted at D tackle from Michigan. You get Shedeur late, and then you pack up everywhere else. You still got Myles Garrett. You still got a promising defense. Defense never been a problem over there.
Well, supposedly Cleveland's told Garrett that they're going to be doing something different and they're going to challenge for a championship. Now, what they brought in, I don't see that happening. I don't care what you brought in. Shedeur Sanders, he's good, but you can't make magic with nobody.
No, not at all. Especially you got that. Got that issue going on at quarterback. It'll never happen.
So it's like, maybe, who knows? They still have time to make more moves. There's second round of free agents, and there's still kids in from college, so things could change. But the team will play better with Shedeur Sanders under thing because Deshaun Watson, Texas ruined him.
No, yeah.
With all them sexual charges they had on him, then all of a sudden he went to get traded, and all 70 of them just got dropped. It's a Texas thing, and they were trying to bully that man, Deshaun Watson. And all they were trying to do is ruin him and make him the way he is. And now he was one of the best quarterbacks in the league, and now he's sitting on the bench. Maybe it's not the quarterback. Maybe it's the rest of the team. But either way, you have good quarterbacks over there that are just sitting there, and you're saying they're no good. And now they just gave him another one, Shedeur Sanders, which they could say he's good, but he doesn't do nothing for us. I just feel like they don't want him to win at all. They are hating on this man so bad because of something that happened 20 years ago that he had no control over.
Sad.
It's the same thing they're doing to that girl in basketball.
Yeah.
I forgot what her name is, the one that shoots all the threes.
Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, her. They hate on her. They foul her. They've hit her. They've done all kinds of shit to her. You know what she's got to do? Suck it up. And you know what she's doing? She's plotting them threes right in their face.
She's making women's basketball relevant.
Again.
And they hate it.
Yes, because she's taking the spotlight off of all of them. That's what Shedeur Sanders is going to do to the Browns.
You want to shoot from the hip? You want to be real? It's because she's white. It's because she's white.
That's a fact. We ain't sugarcoating that. That's a fact.
And look at let's just be real. This is be what it is. Caitlin Clark It's a white basketball player, predominantly in a black sport. And they didn't like it because LSU's girl came in, and I forget her name now. I'm like Angel Reese. She comes in and she has this swag about her, and she's making all this money, and she's getting all loosey goose all over the place with the photos and everything. And next thing you know, she's trying to be the face of basketball. She wants to say that basketball is relevant also because of her. You're making basketball relevant because of the stuff you do outside of basketball. Caitlin Clark is balling in real basketball.
Right. Right.
And you're just mad because it's not a sister doing it, and it's her doing it. And you want
So it's like an
relevancy and have that because of that.
So it's like an it's kind of like an Eminem complex.
Yes, that's definitely what it is.
I understand that.
You could never have another sister, right? Say, oh yeah, Kayla Clark, not for nothing, but she's a fire basketball player.
Yeah.
You can't say that. Because if you say that, oh nah, you cornball. All the
right.
stuff. You can't say that stuff. And that legitimately upsets me. Because
just like Dr.
Small amount of them that could ball like that.
Just like Dr. Dre and a few rappers said, unfortunately, when a white man raps better than we do, people are going to hate on him. And one of them people is the man in his own camp who owns Black Wall Street, who says he is better than Eminem and he will destroy him in a battle. Well, Game, I hate to tell you something, brother. You're not even close.
Nope.
But now, facts. But hold on. But now, we about to close out the show though. So we about to get to a few comments, right? That we have skipped over.
Okay.
So let's start off with Doug. That's the problem in the playoffs. The D line never shows up.
Ain't lying.
He
ain't lying.
Oh, we got a troll here. Los Toast. Why y'all ever go?
What you go? Whoa, hold on. What? Los Toast.
He a troll, bro.
What's going on here?
He sound like a Patriots fan. I ain't gonna hold you.
Are we ever gonna win a Super Bowl?
What we got for John Robert? So I guess we did sign a linebacker. A linebacker. I have no idea who he is, though. No idea. I'll look into it.
I heard of Ryan Flowers. Is he an announcer? Like a sports personality? Tyler would probably be a young, right?
All right.
They showed him making one-hand catches in the end zone, but,
Yeah, for sure. The Browns is one of the teams Deion said his son will play for. All right, so
well, if you can remember, before the draft, Deion came out and said there are teams I will not let my son play for. I will not, he said.
And I'm quite sure the Browns are the team.
And when you say that, no team drafted your son.
It's your fault.
Because they didn't know, well, what if we draft him and Deion said, yo, I'm sorry, I can't let him play for the Green Bay Packers.
My son not going to play there because he ain't going to have a chance to play.
So he only had certain teams that he wanted him to go to. So it's like.
Yeah.
And as a father, you should. He in the Cleveland Browns.
So Cleveland Browns is one of the teams you wanted your son to go to? Not my son. I hate to say this, but I would do my damnedest to talk to Andy Reid and give him a cheeseburger to take my son.
I'm so sorry. But if I'm his father, I'm saying teams that would be able to start my son are the only ones that are going to have my son's services. Because that's what you do as a father, right? Him being a fifth-round draft pick doesn't hurt his pockets. Dude's already rich.
We all saw what LeBron did.
So check. Yeah, and LeBron playing with his son.
LeBron told the Lakers straight out, don't draft my son and see where I'm at next year. He said, I swear to God, I'll leave. Draft my son. Even the guys came on national TV and said, we did not want to draft him. LeBron gave us no choice.
But why not just get him as an undrafted then?
Because he wanted his son to be drafted and get the money like he did. They technically wanted him to take him with the first overall pick they had. I'm sorry, but if I'm the Lakers people, I would say you're fucking beat. Excuse my language, but I'm sorry. I know you're good, but your son sucks. Like literally, he can't even do a layup with 3 hands. You saw him. He played in the game. He missed every shot. His dad's like, oh, no, he's not that man. He's not his dad. Not even close.
He's developmental.
And I'm sorry. There's definitely a difference because LeBron's son would never dress up in a freaking French maid outfit just because Diddy wanted to smack his ass with baby oil.
That's true. Yeah.
It's not about the baby oil. It's what's in the baby oil.
Oh, that's that.
Something that smell like menthol or something, is it according to one of the.
You said it was going to be a show, right?
Hey. It's 10:30, so the kids should be asleep by now. So this is the after hours.
I'm sorry. This is a family show.
Oh, that comes
I got a little excited. I'm sorry to the young viewers and the mothers out there. I love you all.
He got on his Shannon Sharp. He just said, he says late night. It's starting the nightcap. Oh man, this is getting symbolical, y'all.
I ain't gonna lie. That's the way to end the show, bro. That's a banger. I ain't gonna lie. All right.
That's some funny stuff.
That got me good. Yo. I'm gonna clip that, bro. That was funny. But hey man, thank y'all for tuning in to Bills United podcast, man. Post draft. Listen, man, we're gonna be back next week. I know we've been a little inconsistent recently, man, but hey, guess what? We are back in action. We got more stuff coming to y'all, man. Hey man, stay tuned. Tune in next Saturday. We're gonna be here live, keep you updated. And guess what's around the corner? Training camp. And guess who's gonna be live there? We are. We're gonna be coming back with footage. We're gonna taking care of y'all, man. So thank y'all for tuning in, man. We appreciate y'all, man. Yeah, y'all have any last words?
Nah, man. God bless. Everybody be safe out there and enjoy the rest of the weekend. And go Bills.
Hell yeah.
Bills, baby.
We here, big dog. Man, we here, big dog.